Live. I have a pre-stamped card here. It was just a really quick composition. And I'm using the Art Foamies Winter Ash here. And this is done on the wood grain paper, so hopefully it makes it, a lot faster to finish off this piece because on the wood grain paper you don't need to do too much coloring in the background as you already have the tones already pre-established and set, as well as the textural kind of quality of those wood grained, I don't know, whatever, grains, I guess you can say. So anyways, I'm just going to do some additional kind of shading and some light coloring in here. Mostly it's kind of to work some shadows. And let's see how that goes here. Okay, I like using colored pencils with this wood grain paper. And I don't like adding too much because I think it looks good as is. I just like to kind of create a little bit of tone, maybe to separate different areas within the piece. So let's say landscape from sky. Hello, Berit. Good to see ya. How are you? I hope your stamps are making their way out to you with good progress. Thanks again for the order. We're going to be using some little leaves here. I'm guessing you can get these types of things out your way because, people around the world do like model railroad. There's model railroad enthusiasts. So you got all those little types of elements everywhere. And they're, these days they're all coming from China anyway. But little things like three-dimensional grasses and things like that. Hello, Sandy. But yeah, these little leaves I think could be a nice element for us. I mean, not just the leaves, but they have all kinds of different things. I don't know how to incorporate without making like a little shadow box. Some of those little trees that they have, little three-dimensional trees. But I think those would be really cool too. And I do have some of those grasses, so I don't know, maybe if I do an Easter piece or something like that, I'm going to sprinkle some of that little fibery type of grass into this area down below, and I think that would be kind of cool. I just need to learn things like how to, how you're supposed to adhere, that type of thing. Someone in the group, and it comes on the lives, they do a lot of model railroad, three-dimensional types of constructions. So they were telling me about different types of adhesives that they use, or that are used in that type of, hobby building, whatever. All right, so I'm going with some greens into this grass area. I'm not going to color it like too extensively here. But I'm going to move into some of these brown tones right here, down in this brown area, and then we'll add in some shading, okay? So what I like about this wood grain paper is that kind of the midtones are already established, for the most part, so we don't have to do too much coloring to make it a pretty, I don't know, full, kind of tonal range in here. You can even add in your highlights if you want to with some like white pastel or something like that. The wood grain paper, I got it on Amazon. Okay, so what you do is you look for, I don't know if you can find it, but if you look up disposable or paper placemats, okay. Hello, Sharita and Jeannie. Hello, Candy. Look up like placemats. They have like some like decorative placemats, things that you might use for outdoor eating or indoor eating, like a party, and that it's stuff that they just throw away. But I also saw ones that are in the shape of like an autumn leaf. But some of those ones for me didn't look like they would be really good to stamp on top of because there was too much contrast in the design. I mean, it looked good to play, you place your plate on it or paper plate or whatever, and people are just eating, you know what I mean, just to keep things kind of tidy where you're eating. But anyways, there's some different types. Now, I mean, there's not a huge amount of them. Like there's this wood grain one, but then there's a burlap type of placemat, disposable paper placemat that I saw. And there's a couple of those ones, and those ones look kind of interesting too, but there was kind of a lot of texture again. Or texture, contrast within the texture, because it looks like burlap, like a gunny sack or something like that. And the deeper the shadow areas, I thought, well, if I stamp over the top of it, I think certain images can look pretty cool on it. But I wasn't quite sure on some things. I mean, it would really seem very textural if I tried that on there because the darker tones are, they're like this, or something like that. So there's a decent amount of contrast. But anyways, I don't know. That's where I got the wood grain paper. I think I was looking for wood grained cardstock. Now, I think wood grain cardstocks are pretty. I don't know about popular, but they're more readily available, at least for the scrapbooking crowd. Okay, so there was wood grain types of cardstocks, probably in 12 by 12, maybe in smaller packs too, I'm not sure. And that's what I was going to pick up when I started looking. I think I looked up wood grain cardstock, and these placemats came up. And for me, I don't really care if it's really thin and kind of cheap, cheap in terms of like quality, okay? Because I mount my stuff anyway, like on a card like this, so I don't need it to be really stiff. But it was like extremely inexpensive, so it was like 60 11 by 17, like double page sheets for, I don't know, it was like, okay, I can't even remember. It was like $10 or something like that, where the card stocks might have been like $1 a sheet or something like that. Um, I prefer the double size, and 60 sheets for $10. I mean, who wouldn't, right? As long as they work the same, who cares, I mean, like I said, unless you're making the card like the card base, like the folded card, out of the wood grain paper, then you need it a little stiffer, and better, higher quality. But if you're mounting the stuff, you know, and as long as I get the stamp on it, I don't want it like tissue paper thin or something like that. But you know, like text weight paper. I used to get everything cardstock, okay, but then I kind of learned something when I bought like the text weight paper in Stardream papers. I was buying several Stardream papers, and they were all text weight. I mean, cover weight. Just because I don't know, that's what we're used to using card making, right? But I always mount that anyways. Um, and then I was like, this is starting to add up, after you buy like 3 or 4 packs or something like that. And I think it was like 25 sheets for, I don't know, $15 or something like that. And then I looked, and then they had the text weight one, but it was 50 sheets for the same price. And I thought, I'm going to get that. But I was, I thought it didn't really make too much of a difference. And it almost was better because um, the thicker papers tend to bow a little bit, when I was doing things to it or got a lot of media. But the thinner one didn't. I don't know, because I don't know, it didn't absorb as much or something. I'm not sure. Okay, so anyways, you can see I'm adding some shadows in here and some, oh, kind of depth into the, you're giving depth to the forms and, okay, it's a visual weight and opacity to your forms when you add these shadows down here at the base of them. Because if you have everything just showing through the background, in this case the papers or something like that, they're more like a window. And then when you add some shadow work to them around the forms, it gives them it anchors them into the piece, but then it gives them opacity because you're saying that, they're just not, just completely see-through. And it doesn't take too much to do, you just kind of, you don't have to know too much about shadows, if you have like a sun over here or something like that, something really definitive, then you might want to have the shadows kind of running, kind of, away from those specific light sources. But otherwise, a rock like this, you just kind of give it just a general shadow work, right? That's right around the base of it, like that. This is a rock, and then you just give it a little bit of tone, like say halfway up it or so, and then you leave the top part open, like these ones here. Let me see. So Candy found some of my vine dies, have tiny leaves on it. Oh, that's cool, Candy. And then you can make it out of any papers then. You can even do like cut out like metallics or something like that. That'd be cool, huh? Like some kind of shiny leaves for some purpose, foil leaves. That'd be kind of cool. Let's see. Amazon, here I come. Yeah, check it out and see what they have. I don't have it everywhere. Like Linda was looking for an Amazon Canada, and I don't think she had the wood grain paper wasn't available there. But like I said, you can find wood grain cardstock though, probably. But again, I don't know. It's kind of a bonus when you can get like those nice big packs of it, just like this gold paper right here. It's available in some areas for that much. Mine's like a 60 packs for like $18 or $19 now. It went up a little bit, but I was kind of surprised that it didn't go up by, I don't know, 30-40% like other types of papers, because this paper is really heavy. And, things like fuel and everything like that, shipping from overseas is, it's gotten really expensive. But I don't know, some things just haven't really gone up too much. They haven't really been affected, thankfully. All right, so here's a little bit of this green in here. I'm kind of adding a little bit more. I thought that looked pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to add in, we have all these leaves right here. And I'm going with the, we can use the smaller one right here, but the scale of these leaves really fits the Art Foamies tree really well. But, go with any kind of bare branch, I would think. And you can utilize these types of ideas on there. Like maybe even like a closer branch would be kind of cool in some certain type of situation. That'd be a pretty cool composition, I think, actually. Maybe if we just do like a sky and just have a branch going into it, and then you add a few of these leaves in there. I thought that would be cool. Okay, but on this one right here, I thought what I would do is I would predominantly focus my little leaves applications on the base of this scene here with the that tree. I want a little bit of black too here. Let me see. Let me go with one more color actually. Okay, so a little bit of black. So with lighter colors, you extend the shadow out a little bit more. And then with the darker ones, you kind of leave it closer to, you apply it closer to the object, and you don't extend it out quite as much. Yeah, unless you're doing monochromatic and it's like all grayscale or something like that. But I like how it kind of dissipates like that and kind of moves away from it like that. The shadow breaks up a little bit more. Okay, so let's see. Sharita stamped a scene on white gesso board. That's pretty cool. I didn't know what to expect. So on the white gesso board, Sharita, did you buy like a ampersand art gesso board or something like that? But on that gesso board, if it's stiff like that, you can, you know, thing that's cool about those gesso boards or just panels in general, boards, is that if you want to, you can apply a lot of other types of media to it with no problem. You can do into it with paints or anything like that. But just having the piece on those stiffer panels like that, it kind of makes it more of like it makes it like an extra special kind of project, doesn't it? Having it on that stiff. That's why I like those clayboard pieces. It's just like another type of like 3 dimension. There's a feeling of like permanence to it, I guess, or a little bit more permanence, I guess, on those pieces. You're definitely an explorer of media, Sharita, here in your early crafting paper arts, not years, but like months. Your mind must be just like expanding, like with each, kind of trip to your craft room, your craft lab, as I always say. Okay, so a little bit more value. Here, let me extend this shadow out. Let's say that the sun is coming from that way. Let's kind of bring this out this way. So you can kind of direct your kind of lighting, by extending that out. You're saying that light is coming from that way. Actually, that looks pretty cool, I think. Let's do that on a few of these rocks. So I'm just kind of angling my shadows a little bit more. Maybe it's adding a little bit more kind of whatever dramatic lighting to the piece. Not super dramatic, but a little bit more when you extend the shadows out, or elongate your shadows. All right, so see that right there? Just a little bit more. They say that when you add these kind of angles into, when you have like angles in pieces, it kind of adds to the visual movement of a piece like that. So that looks a little bit better. Okay, so let's see how this goes here. Okay, I think I will add some of this tone up into my trees here. I wasn't quite sure if I was going to do that, but I think if I just add the leaves up there, it might kind of look a little bit out of place. I'm not sure, or not as integrated, I guess I should say. Okay, to not be aggressive stamping on thin paper. Oh, Candy, whatever you're doing, just keep doing the same thing with your pieces looking like they do. If the aggression and the energy, is leading to the, your results, just keep doing that. All right, let's just add in a little bit of this. I can add in more if I need to. Maybe I should do these little dots a little bit bigger. Oh, looks like when I do this little kind of squiggle right here, it leaves like a lighter, more translucent application. When I'm going like a little dot, I think it's concentrating all that tone into one area. And we have both. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, it's a little drawing like that. I guess there's a certain amount of pigment right there, but when you kind of just go like this, it's releasing more of the water, the binder, and less, and it's just kind of spreading out that, I don't know, whatever certain amount of pigment is on the tip, by whatever it is, like capillary action or whatever. Okay, so that is that. Let's put a few little down here. Giving this area up here and the base a little bit of a common texture. All right, because that's what we're gonna be doing with the leaves too. Let's go with orange here. I wish I had a rusty kind of orange here, somewhere in between these two, but oh well. I guess you can mix it. I can put like dots down here or the red and put a little bit of orange right over the top of it. Here, let me try that. This red's a little bit too bright of a red for me on this piece, in this case. I mean, that's the color you want from a pen that is looking like that, but in this case, and it looks like little, like, crayon apples or something. I want a little bit more earthy looking, like these, that tone of red up there. Let's see, I have some of that paper. It stamps pretty good too. Oh, good, Debbie. Hello, Linda. We were just talking about wood grain paper and like gold paper, and how it's not available on some Amazons, in some countries. Right? All right, so here's this orange. Maybe the orange is a little bit bright too for some reason. I say for some reason because sometimes when I use the orange, like if I'm doing it on a white piece of paper, it's like, I wish it was a little bit brighter. It like kind of mutes out. But now when I want it to be a little bit more mute, it looks like really bright. And it dries differently though, so it looks a little bit different. Okay, so that is that. So that being said, let's hit it with a little bit of this, which is like a tan or something. Now, I probably have these colors. I have the colors that I'd like in the 0.7 millimeter because I have a 45 color set of those ones. Like, here's like a good orange, It's a little bit more of an earthy orange, but I don't feel like scribbling like each little dot, for too long. If I'm taking my time, I don't mind it. It's almost like I don't know. It's like the zen of whatever dot application. Just like when I'm doing like stippling, drawing, designs, but I don't want to take too much time on this one. I want this to be a fairly quick card. All right, so this is standing out quite a bit on this paper, so I'm going to use this for like little sparkles in the leaves right there, and I'll use it as like highlights down in my grassy area like this. So this is adding a tone or a color that's lighter than probably the lightest areas of this wood grain paper. Therefore, it represents, lighting in here. Or highlights like that. I mean, it could, it could be leaves too or something like that. But down there in that meadow area, it kind of, it's definitely looking like light is hitting it. I think. All right, so Okay, so this right here, so I've increased the tonal range, the value range of this piece by adding in these lighter elements like that. And I think that'll help with the integration of, three-dimensional media in here, because that's really going to stand out, like a little leaf that's, it'd be like this right here. It's like a crumpled piece of paper, and there's light and shadow within this piece right here, just like there is a little bit in these pieces. Now this is white, so the lights are going to be much lighter, but you get that variation in all these little elements like that. So, I mean, that if if you want this to really stand out a lot more, which maybe I would do if I had like a little branch coming in here and I have these little leaves on here, I think that would look really cool. But on something like this, I think I want it a little bit more visually integrated. So I'm trying to add in that variation, into the rest of the piece. You'd put some highlights here and there and a little bit of light and dark within the tree too, okay? That's the theory, at least. I don't, an application, I don't know what it's going to look like. But we'll see here. All right, so let's try some of this in both the tree up here, and then I'll put a lot of it down here on the grassy area. Yeah, it certainly does sound like you're having a great time, Sharita. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna put. Let's start up here. I'm gonna put some up here in this tree. I've been experimenting around with a little bit of the things like glitter, so I'm used to putting a certain size of a glue dot down. But I think with these leaves, I need to do a little bit of a bigger little dollop of it, just because these are just larger to begin with, and they're all some of them are a little bit more dimensional. Like they're curled like this a little bit. Now I'm probably gonna grab for the flatter ones though. Maybe it's one of those things. Maybe after you finish a card like this, or right after you finish it, you do one of those things like you do when you press flowers and to like throw it into a book and just close it. I don't know, maybe. All right, let's see. These leaves are looking pretty decent. I mean, they're kind of disappearing into the background a little bit. Here, let me get this right here. I'll just throw this right here. Yeah, this wood grain. I think it's the wood grain though, mostly here. That wood grain's a pretty good partner for this. Okay, so it's wood grain. I think the that craft style of paper would be good too. I was thinking about that. I thought, that craft style of paper like this, like box or I don't know, whatever you call it, brown bag. I think that brown bag paper would be really good with these leaves here too. A real kind of just natural, kind of earthy color. I think that would be really good with this. It would be a really good combination. So you can find that too, if you can't find like the wood grain paper, wherever you are, just try it like a real kind of natural looking paper. Like I said, if they have something like a textured burlap, or another one that people can probably find fairly easily are the the vintage styles of papers. You know, that type of stationery. That would be I think that'd be a fantastic one too. Kind of on the other end of the spectrum, probably, I don't know, would be like this. I think that maybe not one, wouldn't be. I don't know. Maybe we can make something like that work, but I tend to think that these more kind of natural papers make for a really good combo with this. I guess it depends what the leaves are. There's a lot of different looking leaves out there too, from what I saw, or not a huge number. I don't know. I think I saw like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 different ones. It was really hard to kind of figure out which one to try out because there were different tones of leaves. Okay, so here's those leaves are up here. Okay, so they're mostly on the top area of the canopy. I didn't put too many down in this area. And I tried to cluster. I didn't put like red, green, yellow, red, green, yellow, red, green, yellow, something like that. Here's like a couple reds and greens. Here's like 3 yellows, yellow and a greens, red. I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. Um, that looks pretty decent. I didn't expect the integration to be quite as extreme. So let's add in some more here, I think. I'm going to try to cluster a little bit more, like here and there, and not have it like too evenly spaced. I want it kind of like a little bit more varied, I think. Yeah, I think it tends to look a little bit more natural that way. Yeah, yeah, Linda, I've been curious about this, from the other day. I was thinking, okay, let's see what these leaves would look like, on the tree, actually on the tree. I'm learning how to apply these a little bit better now too. Like you want to go for that. Like I said, some of these are kind of curled, so you want to, naturally, you want to go. If it's curled like this, you're applying that side down. Where did I get that purple ink? I didn't use anything purple here, or bluish. Oh, it was probably on the foam, the art foamy stamp. Yeah, it's probably black. All right. Okay, there's one. Is that a glue dot or is that? Okay, those are glue dots. Each one of these leaves, too, the thing that's kind of interesting is that um, they they're all a little bit different. Like the sizes aren't exactly the same, um, which is probably good. All right, so anyways, there's that. And let's put some down in here. Let's put a lot of them down in here. Maybe I put too many up there, but anyways. Um, let's give it a try. Let me see. One of these is sticking out. Here. Okay, there we go. All right, let's give this a try. I hope I can get away with this. This is, before this glue dries up here. But do you see what I'm doing? I'm kind of, or trying to, at least, I'm trying to concentrate um, like more leaves right underneath the tree, and then you know, the distance between kind of um, increases the farther away from, whatever that drop zone is right in there. Okay, let's see here. All right, so the leaves aren't quite as unruly as glitter is. Glitter seems to get everywhere. I don't have a bunch of like leaves, like bits everywhere, like with glitter. Not that that's better or anything, like the glitter's just a different thing, I know, but in terms of like working with like small types of elements. Okay, so here's a little thing right here. I guess some of this stuff, some of these leaves like really kind of like, disappear into the background. So like the red one is, a lot darker. So maybe I put the red more in the lighter areas. I don't know. And the yellow in the darker areas just so that they stand out a little bit more by contrast, maybe. I don't know. Like I'm adding like a green right here, which is kind of more of like a mid-tone color or something like that. And if it just integrates like too much, maybe you know, maybe there's no point in putting it there then. If you can't see it. So, or maybe if I get really kind of more technical, maybe I have more of the greenish leaves up here, and then you put more of the red and the yellow down here where it's kind of like turned more or something like that. The greenish ones are still kind of clinging to the tree. If you've been watching these lives, sometimes I've talked about like my trip to Maine, the state of Maine, and I caught it in full color one time when I was there on this one trip. I only went out there twice, but the second time was on this workshop. I taught workshops one weekend, and then the following weekend was this their convention out there. Um, and their convention in Maine, it was put on by like all the retailers, rubber stamping retailers out there. And what they would do is they would each booth, unless they made their own stamps too, most of them didn't. They'd like represent one company, so and then they would coordinate it so like two of the same stores didn't have the same line at this little convention. Okay, but that's besides the point. But anyways, I caught that. I was out there and it was like during fall and it was full fall colors, and I went out hiking one day because I had Monday through like Thursday, you know, to just explore Maine in between the workshops and convention that following Saturday, and it was awesome. It was like color everywhere, and it was so beautiful. And then, like a storm came through, and it was really rainy and windy. Um, on like the Tuesday, or I don't know, maybe it was Wednesday, and I thought, oh man, um, it was really a bummer because all the trees were just full of leaves and in full autumn splendor. It was like the week to catch it, and I knew that because I ran into this ranger doing trail maintenance, and they were working on the trails out there, and no one was out there either. And they said, yeah, this all this color, it wasn't here like last week, when they were out there. So I knew I caught it like at the perfect time. Okay, but anyways, the storm's coming through. I'm thinking, okay, darn it, all those leaves are going to be like a lot of them are fallen, and when I went out there the next day after that storm, a lot of the leaves did fall, but it was kind of cool because all the color was on the ground. It was reds, oranges, pinks, yellows, and you're walking over like a carpet of it, which is pretty cool. I always thought to myself at the time, I always remember it thinking, it looked like Fruity Pebbles, that cereal, all the colors. It was those like exact colors of Fruity Pebbles, not as like extreme, but basically the same shades of all of that. Okay, so let's see what this looks like here. Okay, we have these leaves down here like that, and they're up there in the tree like that. It looks pretty cool. I don't know. I think it's pretty fun. I don't know what I think about it. Like, I like it better on the mirror than on the reflection card, I think. But, okay, this is a half-page scene right here because I wanted a little bit of a larger kind of application of it to see what these might look like. But putting like a few of these up on like a quarter page, I think would be really cool. I mean, I like it like this. I think if I did this again, I would have it more graphic. Maybe I wouldn't go for the integration and I would just you have some kind of bear tree up here like this, like on a white cardstock or something like that, or just a little bit of tone in the background. And then you have this kind of bear around here, but then you put those leaves like down here, where they would stand out even more. In this case, I wanted it really integrated and kind of incorporated in with the background, but I think it might be more effective or more graphic and, kind of more of this fall statement if you just have it just as is. They have that Facebook group. It's called something like Clean. I think it's called Clean and Simple. Okay, I'm not on that one too much, but it seems like they're clean and simple. It's just like one or two stamps on a white piece of paper, and then there might be like some little accessory like a bow, and the card is kind of formatted really nice, but it's just like it's sparse. Okay, but something like that I think would be really cool if you just stamp that out. You can stamp out, I don't know what you'd stamp out that tree, and you can do it even in a you can even do it in white, I guess, on like a darker cardstock and put some of these leaves down at the base, or just go white. And I think it would be good with the quote and just put some of these colored leaves right down at the base of like a stark white card or something like that. Quote, stamp, and leaves down at the base. I think that'd be pretty cute of a, card like that. But this, I don't know. I think this looks okay. And I think I would go less. Yeah, I think I like the idea of like maybe less leaves up here. Either go like more up here and less down here, or you go more down here and less up here for that. But I don't know. I think they work pretty decently though. But they are three-dimensional, and I've always been adding in the markers, to make the trees kind of come alive in terms of fall types of things. But I think that, okay, I'm thinking about this in terms of like a card that you send to someone. I think that the three-dimensional types of elements on there, now that I think about it, I think those would probably be extra special than not having them on there in a similar composition like that. Um, yeah, maybe just I don't know. Yeah, but from a graphical type of thing, I think I would go a little bit less up here and more down here if I was going to do that then, or something like that, or do that thing where I said more of the greens and maybe yellows up here, and maybe more of the reds down below or something. I don't know, something like that might be pretty cool. But anyways, yeah. Um, I think if someone were to receive, these pieces with those three-dimensional elements on it, I just think it makes it a little bit more interesting, at least initially. you know, people are used to receiving a certain type of card from you, but if you add in those little extra little things like that, you know, I don't know. I think it makes a kind of fun receipt uh, for something like that. So yeah. Anyway, that is it. Another experiment done here. Let me see. So, what are you guys talking about here? I painted on gesso on canvas. Okay. It makes it really easy to stamp on. So, is that like a painted gesso on canvas? So, is that like on a framed canvas then, Linda? Um, like it's on a canvas framing, or is that on like a canvas board then? Because I was wondering about the give, if it was like on a painting, like on a like a traditional like wooden framing or something like that for stamping on. Maybe you're talking about like a gesso board. Okay, canvas board. Okay, got it. Yeah. Was that okay? So let me see. So on the canvas or the gesso board that Sharita and so Linda on the canvas board, did the texture of the canvas get in the way of like clean impression? Did you have to use a certain type of stamp on that canvas board? You know what I mean? Like for me, I'm thinking about anything that's really textural. This is the same thing that I've wondered. I haven't stamped on too many things that are really textural, um, like uh, like watercolor paper. I've seen it though, and I really like it. Like watercolor papers, linens, things like that. Um, I think I've stamped on linen envelopes before, but not like in, I don't know, decades. But I can't remember about those things. So things that are really tonal, like just made of dots, I found that I don't know, back when like I said, I haven't experimented on it much, but it lost just so much of the information. Maybe you got to stamp out something like a more bolder, solid type of imagery on those really super textural papers. I don't know. All right, on the super textural papers, I've thought that these art foamies would be perfect for those because these foam pieces they can really get in the grooves of um, really super textural surfaces better. Yeah, but like I said, I haven't really experimented around with it too much. Um, but I want to because I like the look. I especially like the look of things like watercolor effects in the backgrounds of pieces that I've seen where people utilize that type of thing. Um, I want to try painting on painting canvas. Yeah. I loved working on canvas back in school, my school days, in oil painting classes. I think that's the last time I've worked on anything canvas at all. I never did acrylics on canvas, but it was always oils. I don't think that we used acrylics and anyone used acrylics in school. It was always oil painting. Uh, yeah, but I love the feeling of the give on canvas. surfaces and things like that. When you're painting on a, it gives a lot when you're painting on there with a paintbrush or like a palette knife. Not once you painted it with gesso, the stamp was very smooth. Okay, you can see a bit of the texture, but it just adds the look and doesn't interfere. That's cool. Yeah. I don't know. Gosh, I don't think I have any gesso. We used to buy that gesso by, never bought it by the gallon, but I'm sure drawing and painting majors did, but I think I'd buy it by the pint or something like that. But yeah, I've never tried it again. But one of the things that I think we had talked about was the different ways you paint on the gesso onto the canvas. You can get those, different types of strokes, especially on a larger canvas like a 40 inch or something like that. You can get whatever types of strokes you want, in that gesso foundation, so that when you start painting on it, you can see those little textural forms in there. So sometimes you did like little loopy types of textures and things like that. Sometimes you wanted, kind of a more smoother, more smooth application of the gesso. I can't remember too. We might have done like multiple coats on some of them too. One of the things when you're an art student too, you're doing these assignments on canvases, and then, when you get done with a painting after it's been graded or something like that, you're often just reusing that same canvas for your next project, so that you don't have to take off the canvas off of it and canvas it up and something. So you just gesso over your existing painting. So sometimes some of those paintings got really, really thick because you might have, I don't know if you wouldn't do it like 3 times, I don't think, but you definitely reuse your canvases twice quite often. And that gesso is really thick. So sometimes maybe when you're painting over something as opposed to like just blank canvas, you might have to go like double coats on it just to, hide the existing painting that you've done on there. This is bringing back some memories thinking about that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so anyways, a little experiment here with the 3D medium. Maybe on this one here, when I kind of figure out how to use some of these grasses. Oh! See, I think these are standing out quite a bit down here. Just looking at it in person like this. But you know what might be cool? Is to integrate some of this little grassy stuff into this area down here. Okay? Especially in the foreground, where it looks like the foreground's more textural and dimensional, like that. And then I think these leaves would kind of sit into the scene really nicely. But like I said, I need to, I don't know how to use this stuff yet. So it's like, I haven't even opened these yet until now. But yeah, these are like little fibers. So I can probably like paint on some glue around in here and just drop some of this down here. So we'd have this like, like little fuzzy areas on our scenes, which might be kind of interesting. But yeah, I'll give that a try on here. This would be the perfect one to do it on. See, because then that would, it would alter this a little bit more from a textural standpoint from this top area to this bottom. It was integrated too much, it's too similar up here as to down here, but I think I could make this more dimensional down here. Plus this area down here is supposed to be closer to us than this tree right here, right? Because it's farther up on the scene. So if I did those little grassy elements down here, yeah, that might do the trick, especially like right around in this tree right here. So anyways, I'll try that coming up here. I need to watch some videos on the application of this type of thing though, because I need to figure out how to use it. Like if I'm gonna get some like really cheap throwaway paint brushes or something like that, and just get some of it down here really thin. It looks like this stuff, you just sprinkle it on and kind of dab off, the part that you don't use. So, yeah, that might be a nice little element in here. All right. Let's see here. Now, as you painted it with gesso. Okay, so Anyway, Zig two-way glue. Is that the one that comes in a like pen form or something like that? Do I have one of those? I thought I had one of those Zig pens or something like that, if that's what it is. Maybe I'm thinking about my embossing pen. Anyway, there's a gazillion videos on that type of stuff out there. I wasn't watching it in terms of for techniques or something like that. I don't know. This one channel came by my YouTube feed a couple years. I don't know. Maybe it's been 5 years at this point in time, where people were doing these kind of realistic types of little settings or dioramas or something like that. And I'm pretty sure that they were using some of this little grassy types of texturing on there. So I need to take a look at some of those too and see how they maybe kind of mix some of these together. Like, see, that brown one and this one right here would probably be perfect for down here. This one might be a little bit too bright of a green, as well as these other ones. So probably like these two right here. You know, I just thought about something. Like, I had no idea what this one was for. They didn't have like examples of this. But I wonder if this is for like snow, right? That might be kind of interesting. It almost looks like different. This one looks like cotton right here. But this one's like, I don't know, like hay or something like that. But I think these two would be perfect for this little area right in here. And then we could put like some Easter eggs in there. All right, folks. Thanks for checking out this experiment. We'll finish this piece off with some grass in a future live. Yeah, we'll figure out. I need to watch some videos on that grass, though. But now I'm looking at this, I think that this would be really good for that. I can see even some of this grass like up here or something like that, or in the background. Like, you get a little bit I wouldn't want to go furry the whole thing, I don't think. But yeah. So anyways, when you send out your pieces to people, they not only look at the piece, but they can also kind of like pet your cards after that too. When I look at this type of thing like this, I think about those children's books, you know, where you open it up and it's like got that little fabric down, you know, where you touch it, you know, it's like the belly of a bunny rabbit or something like that, you know. And I don't know, isn't that fabric always there or something like that? And then the next page goes like this, and maybe it's a different animal, but that hole is still there, you know, these little things like that. I think that's the way some of those little picture book or flip books worked or something like that. But yeah, this would kind of, I don't know, it would kind of, you know, create this kind of feeling of like this textural, like touching of the pieces, I would think. So you make your pieces kinesthetic in as well as visual like that. And then if somewhere along the line you can check online for like different scents and then add in like see if there's like these little droplets or something like that. You can add in like one of them is like smells like grass. I'm just joking right there. That might be kind of gross. Okay, everyone, thanks again. Hope to see you on the next live. Thanks for joining in as always on the channel.